मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे गोविंदा,
मन राधे गोविंदा,
मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी,
मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी,
मन वृंदावन संचारी,
मन वृंदावन संचारी,
मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन यमुना तीर विहारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधा चेतो हारी,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा,
मन 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 राधे गोविंदा। बोलिए राधावर कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, 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 श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम,
Hari Om everyone. Can you all see me and hear me clearly? Awesome. Thank you. So today we will be continuing with our Bhagavatam. We were in the 26th chapter and we'll continue from the middle where we left. Bhagavan has entered into the Hiranyagarbha. What happens after that, we will get to see, and then probably proceed to the next chapter as well today itself. We will start with invocation, then go through our Lalita Sahasranamam, and then look through Bhagavatam. Hope and pray that you are all doing well. Welcome back. Good to see all of you. Not all. Many more to join, I think. So, let's begin. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Let us begin. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौली स्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसधेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम्। ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्डा पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पकाशोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमनिश्रेणी कनत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्काभा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्य गृहतोरणचिल्लिका वक्त्रलक्ष्मीपरीवाहा चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासादण्डविराजिता ताराकान्तितिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बमञ्जरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूततपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्श परिभाविकपौलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीन्यक्कार्यतनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदा समाकर्षिदिगन्तरा निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भत्सितकच्छपि मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्य चिबुकश्रीविजार्जिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्दरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूरा कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ताकलोलमुक्ताफलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचद्वयी लक्षरोमलताधार तासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौसुम्भ वस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्य रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपपरिक्षिप्तस्मरत्तूर्णाभुजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फाकूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रवदान्विता नखदीतिति सञ्चन्न नमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजालपराकृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जानमणिमञ्जीरमण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवधिः सर्वारुणानवद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्थ श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवी संस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता सम्पत्करी समारूढ सिन्धूरव्रजसेविता अश्वारूढाधिष्ठिता कोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढा सर्वायुधपरिष्कृता गेयचक्ररथारूढा मन्त्रिणी परिसेविता गिरिचक्ररथारूढा दन्दनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वालामालिनिकाक्षिप्तवह्निप्राकारमध्यगा भण्डसैन्यवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिविक्रमहर्षिता नित्यापराक्रमाटोपा निरीक्षणसमुत्सुका भण्डपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनन्दिता मन्त्रिण्यम्बा विरजिता विषङ्गवदतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरणा वाराही वीर्यनन्दिता कामेश्वरमुखालोककल्पिता श्रीगणेश्वरा महागणेशनिर्भिन्ना विघ्नयन्त्रप्रहर्षिता भण्डासुरेन्द्रनिर्मुक्ता शस्त्रप्रत्यस्त्रवर्षिणी कराङ्गुलिनखोत्पन्ना नारायणदशाकृतिः महापाशुपदास्त्राग्नि निर्दग्धासुरसैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्रनिर्दग्धा सभण्डासुरशून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्रमहेन्द्रादि देवसंस्तुतवैभवा हरनेत्राग्निसन्धग्ध कामचञ्जीवनौषधिः श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैकस्वरूपमुपपङ्कजा कण्ठादक्कटिपर्यन्ता मध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापण्य कट्यदोभागधारिणी मूलमन्त्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसङ्केतपालिनी कुलाङ्गना कुलान्तस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी अकुलासमयान्तस्था समयाचारतत्परा मूलाधारैकनिलया ब्रह्मग्रन्थिविभेदिनी मणिपूरान्तरुदिता विष्णुग्रन्थिविभेदिनी आज्ञाचक्रान्तरालस्था रुद्रग्रन्थिविभेदिनी सहस्राराम्बुजारूढा सुधासाराभिवर्षिणी तटिल्लता समरुचिः षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिः कुण्डलिनी विसदन्तुतनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्तसौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शाम्भवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शाङ्करी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरच्चन्द्रनिभानना शातोदरी शान्तिमती निराधारा निरञ्जना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निराकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शान्ता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपञ्चा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवद्या निरन्तरा निष्कारणा निष्कलङ्का निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारागमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिन्ता निरहङ्कारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममताहन्त्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधाक्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथनी निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहन्ती सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सान्द्रकरुणा समाना अधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमङ्गला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमन्त्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयन्त्रात्मिका सर्वतन्त्ररूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मीर्मुडप्रिया महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्प महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्टिपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी कोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुहासा चारुचंद्रकलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथ चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यान ध्यात्र ध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंती तैजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंद रूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्य परायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भगमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेष निमिषोत्पन्न विपन्न भुवनावली सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आब्रह्मकीट जननी वर्णाश्रम विदायिनी निजाज्ञारूप निगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुति सीमंत सिंदूरी कृतपादाब्जधूलिका सकलागम संदोह शुक्ति संपुट मुक्तिका पुरुषार्थ प्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानादि निधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्र सेविता नारायणी नाम नाद रूपा नाम रूप विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेय वर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणीरस्य रणत् किंकिनी मेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलंपटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती कंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादंबरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मदविह्वला विश्वादिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचलनिवासिनी विधात्री वेद जननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धि विनिर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वंद्या वंदारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमंडलवासिनी भक्तिमत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाश विमोचनी संहृता शेषपाषण्ड सदाचार प्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्नि संतप्ता समाह्लादन चंद्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्यातमोपहा चितस्तत्पद लक्षार्था चिदेक रसरूपिणी स्वात्मानंदल विभूता ब्रह्माद्यानंद संतति परा प्रत्यक्षिती रूपा पश्यन्ती परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरी रूपा भक्तमानसहंसिका कामेश्वर प्राणनाडी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता शृंगार रस संपूर्णा जया जालंधर स्थिता ओड्यानपीठ निलया बिंदुमंडलवासिनी रहो याग क्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पण तर्पिता सद्य प्रसादिनी विश्व साक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडंग देवता युक्ता षाड्गुण्य परिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाण सुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिका रूपा श्रीकंठार्ध शरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूल प्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्ता स्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्या स्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लाद कौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमोभेदा भानुमद्भानुसंततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्ति शिवंकरी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टा शिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चित्शक्तिश्चेतनारूपा जडशक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति संध्या द्विजबंध निषेविता तत्वासना तत्वमयी पंचकोशांतरस्थिता निस्सीम महिमा नित्य यौवना मदशालिनी मदघूर्णित रक्ताक्षी मदपाटलगंडभूः चंदनद्रव दिग्धांगी चांपेय कुसुम प्रिया कुशला कोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्लाकुलेश्वरी कुलकुंडालया कौलमार्ग तत्पर सेविता कुमार गणनाथांबा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिर्धृतिः शांति स्वस्तिमती कांतिर्नंदिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रुशोभना सुरनायिका कालकंठी कांतिमतिर्क्षोभिणी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादि प्रहरणा वदनैकसमन्विता पायसान्न प्रिया त्वक्स्था पशुलोक भयंकरी अमृतादि महाशक्त्य संवृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्ज निलया श्यामा भवदनद्वया दंश्रोज्ज्वलाक्षमालादि धरा रुधिर संस्थिता कालरात्र्यादि शक्त्योघा वृता स्निग्धौदन प्रिया महावीरेन्द्र वरदा राकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्ज निलया वदनत्रय संयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मां सनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्त सुखदा लाकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानां भुजगता चतुर्वक्त्र मनोहरा शूलाद्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिगर्विता मेदोनिष्ठा मधुप्रीता बंधिन्यादि समन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्ति संस्थिता अंकुशादि प्रहरणा वरदादि निषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्तचित्ता चाकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञा चक्राब्ज निलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्य शक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैक रसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्ववर्णोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ला संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वौदन प्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यंबा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधामतिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्तिः पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बंधमोचनी बंधुरालका विमर्श रूपिणी विद्या वेदाद् जगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधि प्रशमनी सर्वमृत्युनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहंत्री कमलाक्षं सेविता ताम्बूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियंत्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्ति परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञान घनरूपिणी माद्वीपानालसा मत्ता मातृका वर्णरूपिणी महाकैलास निलया मृणाल मृदोर्लता महनीया दया मूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशालिनी आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्रीषोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्ष किंकरी भूता कमला कोटिसेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्थार विप्रख्या त्रिकोणांतरदीपिका दाक्षायनी दैत्यहंत्री दक्ष यज्ञ विनाशिनी दरांदोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहा सोज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दंड नीतिस्था दहर आकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्य राकांता तिथिमंडलपूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालाप विनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्य दक्षिण सेविता आदिशक्तिरमेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेक कोटि ब्रह्मांड जननी दिव्य विग्रह क्लींकारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपदायिनी त्रिपुरात्र जगद्वंद्या त्रिमूर्तिस्थितशेश्वरी त्र्यक्षरी दिव्यगंधाढ्या सिंधूरतिलकांचिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गंधर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागधीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदाज्ञान विग्रह सर्ववेदांत संवेद्या सत्यानंदस्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लील क्लुप्त ब्रह्मांड मंडला अदृश्यादृश्यरहिता विज्ञात्री वेदवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानंदा युगंधरा इच्छाशक्ति ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजाजैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैताद्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्यस्वरूपिणी बृहती ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंदावलिप्रिया भाषारूपा बृहत्सेना भावाभाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभागतिः राजराजेश्वरी राज्यदायिनी राज्यवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठ निवेशित निजाश्रिता राज्यलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसंधा सागरमेखला दीक्षिता दैत्य शमनी सर्वलोकवशंकरी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानंदरूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी गुहांबा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिव पतिव्रता संप्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमंडलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमती मही गणांबा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादि समाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूपा प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदी विद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठाना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्यप्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंभादिवंदिता भवदा वसुधा वृष्टि पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वांतर विप्रभा भाग्याब्धिचंद्रिका भक्त चित्तकेकी घना घना रोग पर्वत दंबोलिर मृत्युदारु कुठारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महासना अपर्णा चंडिका चंड मुंडा सुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदा सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्प निभाकृतिः ओजोवती द्युतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराट रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्तांड भैरवाराध्या मंत्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानंद रूपा सामरस्य परायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधुक् कामरूपिणी कलानिधि काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवदिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परंज्योतिः परंधाम परमाणुः परात्परा पाशहस्त्रा पाशहंत्री परमंत्र विभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसांसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वान्तर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचंडाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृंखला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुंदा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसारा तलोदरी उदारकीर्तिरुद्दाम वैभवावरणरूपिणी जन्म मृत्युजरा तप्ता जना विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषदुद्घुष्टा शांत्यातीत कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनांतस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पनारहिता काष्टा कांता कांतार्धविग्रहा कार्यकारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंका लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्रप्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्लुख सुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्ता त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधाश्रुतिः संसार पंक निर्मग्न समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञप्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमान स्वरूपिणी धर्माधारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी अयो निर्यो निलया कूटस्था कुलरूपिणी वीरगोष्ठी प्रिया वीरा नैष्कर्म्यानादरूपिणी विज्ञानकलनाकल्या विदग्धा बैन्दवासना तत्वाधिका तत्वमयी तत्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगान प्रिया सौम्या सदाशिव कुटुंबिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदा तुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या धरस्मेर मुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यपददायिनी स्तोत्र प्रिया सुतिमती श्रुति संस्तुत वैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिणी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिनी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञ प्रिया पंच प्रेत मंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धराधर सुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बंदूक कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदुदर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशंकरी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिगुण अंबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्या वांछिता अर्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासादिश यज्ञाता शरद्भातीतरूपिणी अव्याज करुणामूर्तिरज्ञान ध्वान्तदीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्यङ्घशासना श्रीचक्रराज निलया श्रीमत् त्रिपुरसुंदरी श्री शिवा शिवशक्त्यैक्य रूपिणी ललितांबिका एवं श्रीललिता देव्या नाम्नां साहस्रकं जगुः इति श्रीब्रह्माण्डपुराणे उत्तरखण्डे श्रीहयग्रीवागस्त्य संवादे श्रीललिता सहस्रनाम स्तोत्रकथनं सम्पूर्णम्। I will be back in a minute or two. Give me a moment. Can you all hear me well? Let us start with the invocation for Bhagavatam. सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। We are in that part of Bhagavatam where Kardama Rishi's wife Devahuti is verily the daughter of Manu Dharmaraja, and after their wedding they had done severe tapas, and as a result of that tapas Kardama Rishi had this request from Bhagavan as a blessing that he be born as his child. In fact, Bhagavan himself said that before Kardama Rishi could even ask, कि भैया लोग you go and do your tapas in the right time, I would be loving to be born as your child. And that divine child born is Kapila Maharshi. And it is this Kapila Maharshi's Sankhya Yoga Jnana which even Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he quotes it in the entirety in the second chapter. This is not the same as the Kapila Muni who gave the Darshana Shastra, which is also called Sankhya, but it is not this Jnana. There is a vast, voluminous difference. In the Darshana Shastra, there Kapila Muni, he maintains that Purusha and Prakriti are Anadi and Ananta. Anadi, beginningless, Ananta, without an end. But the problem with that would be that if Prakriti is Ananta, continuous, there is no end to it, then there is no possibility of moksha. To transcend this Maya Jagat, to transcend this identity, and to abide in my own true nature, which is that Brahma Chaitanya, which is Satchidananda Swarupa, will not be a possibility. So the major difference would be that in this Sankhya Yoga Jnana, he is trying to explain the entire Srishti Krama, and whenever in Bhagavatam or Upanishad or any other Vaidika Shastra, whenever we talk about creation, it is not to give a certainty and a validity to this creation. That is not the purpose, that is not the point. Otherwise, we will be lost in trying to decipher, have a voluminous debate with those of the books, religious books, that which claim in the very beginning as Genesis or creation as a concept, that this is a certainty. But we do not talk about this creation as a certainty. Why not? It is not to prove that there is a creation that the Shastra is trying to put the effort. For whatever reasons we experience it. It is to prove that this Atma Chaitanya, the self within, is the substratum. It is that Brahma Chaitanya. And that is the only truth. Even in Tattva Bodha, we saw when Bhagavan is trying to explain what is Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha Kaha. When this question is asked, what is Viveka? What do you mean by Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka? There, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya Ji very clearly says, Nitya Vastu tu Ekam Brahma Tad Vyatiriktam Sarvam Anityam. Now, the reason I keep quoting from Upanishad, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or the Prakarana Granthas is the continuity of the same vichara without diluting it or without making it appealing to the crowd for a soundbite. It is that purity of knowledge which continues to persist. What did Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya Ji say in Tattva Bodha? Nitya Vastu tu Ekam Brahma. Nitya means that Brahma Padartha alone. Tad Vyatiriktam, anything other than that. Sarvam, all of it. Anything which is of the nature of Prakriti is Anitya. There is no Anantatva in that Prakriti. It is Antavanta. Antavanta meaning that which has certainly an end. And that end is in knowledge. Jnanat evatu kaivalyam. In this knowledge, understanding that I am that self, the avidya rupini maya is transcended. Therefore, there is a certainty of that end. Now, in this creation, it is to prove that as the basis, that self is the only Nitya Vastu. So, therefore, the effort has not been to prove the seemingness of this creation as a validity. It has to be something that we have to, as sadhaka, transcend. That is the purpose. Hope that whole message that I just was rattling it off got across. मुझे भी लगा बड़बड़ बोल रहा हूँ, बहुत तेजी से बोल रहा हूँ. I will slow down. Now, coming to my, this is again a dialogue between Maitreya Rishi and Vidur Bhagavan, Vidur Mahatma. And there he is explaining the conversation of Devahuti and Kapila Mahamuni. Thus was the message given by Suta Mahashaya to Shaunakadi Rishis. Where was this happening? Naimisharanya. In Naimisharanya. Connection has to be remembered. I keep reminding it often. So in the Vaikariki, now Vaikariki, the root word is Vikara, modification. So Vaikariki in the field of modification, that which Bhagavan has created. He was the substratum. All of this that which is created by Maya was generated and it was still in that womb. When I say womb, it is the place of infinite number of possibilities to express forth from. That is why it is called a womb. Don't try to find Bhagavan Narayana's photo and try the womb. That is where Brahmaji is coming out from. And that is where Brahmaji is seated. And that Brahmaji is the one who is creating all of this. So in that there is that particular portion where this womb of possibilities of infinite number of multitudes to express. Though Bhagavan is the Adhara on which it has been created, but there is no sentiency in it. So then what did Bhagavan do? He got into that role. He got in, pravishata. Now it is something like there is a movie that has to be produced. So the producer, the director went and met the producer. Producer is the finance, and convinced him of the story, convinced him of the cast. But whatever happened, the producer saw that the cast was not acting good enough. So the producer, who has invested a lot of money, so that fellow says, "If I aise nahi karte," and then he jumps into action. Then he sees that he can do a better acting than the cast itself. The influence of power. Similarly, Bhagavan saw that, chalo, I'll be Adhara. Maya bahusyam praja yeti satapotapyata. Come on, start your drama of this creation. But that was achetana, jada, inert. So Bhagavan entered in there. Having thus entered, what happened? 51st shloka. Tatah tenanuvidhebhyah yuktebhyo andamachetanam. So what happened? Bhagavan entered into that achetana jada anda. There is also a description in, I think, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, where even in the womb of the mother, when the seed of the father comes and it ovulates and there is a pinda, it is mass of meat that is growing in size. It is at the end of the first trimester. So the third month is when the jivatva pravesha happens. And that is why Simanta is celebrated on the third month. If not possible, then you can do 5th or 7th. Simanta is a samskara, welcoming the jiva into that pinda. Similarly here, after this Maya created bija, and it was nischetana. It didn't have any kind of chaitanya. So Bhagavan entered into it. Utthitam purusho yasmat udatisthadasau virat. So into that, as soon as Bhagavan got in, how did he get in? He entered in and he enabled each one of these organs of perception, action, and various limbs. He gave the duty, he assigned the duty of all these devatas to become the adhishthana of these indriyas or limbs. Anga, upanga, and they entered in. They started settling in. And this is what we do the dhyana when we chant say Vishnu Sahasranamam or Rudram. This is called Nyasa. Even in the dhyana, Bhuf Padau Yasya Nabhir Vyadasura Nilas Chanda Suryau Chanetre Karna Vashan Shirodhyor Mukhamapi Dahano Yasya Vaste Yamabdhihi Antastham. So he was the very antaratma of all of these and whipped them into action to go become the Adhisthana Devata. So all these indriyas, anga and upanga, were enlivened by these adhisthana devatas. The faculties started functioning and growing. Now, if you go into the field of understanding the womb according to the science, you will see that after this pravesha has been done is when the all the features and all the movements start exponentially expanding within the womb. Something similar to that in this Hiranyagarbha. Now, Hiranmayad Andakoshad Utthaya Salileshayat Tamavishya Mahadevaha Bahudha Nirbibhedakam. So now this Purusha who entered, now he wanted to get up. I call this as the first blueprint. He wanted to get up. But as he wanted to get up, though there was this Adhisthana Devatas, nothing happened. So that is being explained. That all of them went into their individual anga, upanga, enlivening it. And what happened? Agnirvacha mukham bheje, 63rd shloka. Because this portion of all the devatas becoming the Adhisthana Devata and enlivening it, we have seen it at least 3 times so far within Bhagavatam. And we have read about it in very clearly and very substantially in Tattva Bodha also. So I'm not going to dwell on that. Okay. So I'm jumping straight to 63rd. Vanhirvacha mukham bheje nodatiштhat tada virat ghranena nasiko vayuhu nodatiштhat tada virat. So you'll see up until the 69th shloka, there is 2 sentences that are repeated repetitively. Nodatiштhat tada virat. No, the Virata did not stand up. Na udatishtata tada virat. He was not able to get up in that Virata position. So all these different devatas tried, including the Prana Shakti tried. Nothing happened. Then what happened in the 70th shloka? Chittena hridayam chaityaha kshetrajnah pravishad yada. Chittena hridayam chaityaha kshetrajnah pravishat. In the chitta, which is the subtlest of all these matter layer, and within the chitta there are 4. Antakarana chatushtaya. What are the Antakarana chatushtaya? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. All of this put together totally is called chitta. One of the limbs is also called chitta. So which chitta are we talking about? Not one of the limbs, the total. And in that total, the subtlest one is the intellect. In that buddhi, chittena hridayam chetyaha. In that buddhi, Bhagavan became the very epicenter, the heart of it. Hridayam tasya. Meaning that Paramatma is all pervading. This buddhi, this we are talking about the buddhi of the Virat, which is the collective buddhi. Now in that collective buddhi, Bhagavan now, just by the mere presence, he has to do nothing. As soon as a lamp, in front of the lamp there is a mirror, what happens in the mirror? There is a reflection. Now that reflection, there is no prayasa from the lamp. Oh, baap re, mirror aa raha hai now, I have to put on makeup and, I have to apply and I have to appear. Nothing. Just the mere presence is sufficient. It reflects. It not only reflects, that reflection has the qualities borrowed as well. How can it be possible? There are several kinds of fires used for cooking. And since I have been cooking since I was probably in second grade, not 2 years of age, second grade, I must have been 7 or 8. I have tried, or I have been in environments where I had to try cooking with several different kinds of fires. Like initial introduction though was to the gas stove jo hota tha na. So that is what was my initial introduction. But then came the electric, the coil wound ones, which would snap sometimes in between. So we would turn it off, take 2 forks and pull the spring and then join it and smack it down and again turn it on. I'm sure you have gone through it too. Sometimes when there is large cooking, then you have these tripod, 3 stones. As a tripod, they don't think of something else, the teen pathar. And on that you put the vessel and underneath you put the sticks and you burn. Not the food, you burn the sticks so that you can cook the food. Once I was in Rajasthan and I experienced something very unique. Though I was not the cook. When you are driving, you become the driver. When you are cooking, you should become the cooker. So I was not the cooker. I saw it though. There is this reflective mirror surface that is taken, and in that mirror surface, there are these pans or pots which are darkened on the outside. They are kept. A whole pot of rice was cooked under 8 minutes. Dal took about 15 minutes. What were they using? This reflecting surface. It is not the direct sun, but it is the mirrors which have been concaved, like a cave, like a concave, and it is converging all that reflected energy. Where did this reflected energy get that energy to bring heat in? It is not its Swayam Swarupa. It is borrowing it from the sun, converging it through that reflection onto those pots. Similarly, this reflection borrows the seeming sense of sentiency, and that buddhi is enlivened. The moment buddhi is enlivened, what happens? The next layer, mana, then the jnanendriyas and karmendriyas, the body is enlivened. That which is identified to all these 3 layers along with the reflection is called the ahankara. At the totality level, that ahankara is mahad ahankara, is the totality level. And that is Rudra, that who is identified. The Adhisthana Devata of that ahankara is Rudra. So as soon as this process, chittena hridayam chaityaha, as soon as that Bhagavan entered in as that reflection, Virat tadaiva purushaha salilat udatishtata, he got up. A side topic, non-relevant. If I'm saying it, it is relevant, not non-relevant. Usually where we hear it is at the end of the puja vidhi, where we hear Yopam pushpam veda pushpavan prajavaan pashuman bhavati ya evam veda So you hear that mantra, that is called mantra pushpam. So that mantra pushpam, apam, the water, that water which is being spoken about is this total collective water in the womb out of which Bhagavan came. So that water is the source of all possibilities, and that is what is being invoked and offered to Bhagavan. What else can we offer other than what he has created? Nothing else can be offered. At the most, what we can do is, with our specificities of our cooking skills, we can say, with all that you have given Bhagavan, with the capacity also which you have blessed, I am morphing all of it into chitranna, puliyodare, masuranna, this anna, that anna, papad, this, that, and create. I said, this is the unique. What are you offering? His own created prapancha back to him. Similarly, in the mantra pushpam also, it is the same thing that is being done. So what waters are they talking in that mantra pushpa? This waters, from where that Virata Purusha came out to be. Udatishtata. Yatha prasuptam purusham pranenendriya manodhyaha prabhavanti vinayena. Just like, see, the concept of Puja Gurudev using body, mind and intellect, body, mind and intellect, body, mind and intellect through that chart that he speaks usually through. People say, oh, this is all made up. There is no such. Observe the words here. What is he using? Prana, Indriya, Mana, Dhiyaha. So it is taken from here. Meaning the Sankhya Yoga Jnana is the basis for that chart also. So Yatha Prasuptam Purusham, just like the person who is sleeping, these organs of perception and action are also disconnected. If you say, the child was crying or your spouse was crying for, craving for, say, a cake. And by the time you ordered that cake and the cake was home delivered, door delivered, that fellow slept. And without realizing that that fellow slept, you put that piece of cake in a plate and with a spoon kept it next to the side table. That fellow was sleeping away on the sofa. And after half an hour, you came and saw that it did not move, so you sat down and finished it off for him. When he wakes up and he says, where is my cake? He said, I kept it, you did not respond to it, and so I ate it up. I thought you didn't want it anymore. Now, why was he not able to eat or respond? Because from the buddhi onwards to the grossest of the equipment, none of them were connected. Similarly, as soon as he wakes up, everything is reconnected to. Similarly, as soon as this chitta was enlivened by this reflected, there was this sudden awakening in all of these layers, and they all started functioning with their faculty in their fields. Tasmin pratyagatmanam dhiya yoga pravrittaya bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivichyatmani chintayet. Now what Bhagavan Kapila Mahamuni is saying, Kapila Rishi Maharshi is saying is, this whole idea, this whole concept, when you try understanding through proper process of manana, you should reach to that point wherein we come to understand and realize that right from that Hiranyagarbha, Virata and the Vyakta Prapancha, everything is made up of matter and it does not matter. What matters is the substratum. And that is my true nature, the nature of the self, which I say when I refer to as I. But how should one apply oneself in this? He says, Tasmin pratyagatmanam dhiya yoga pravrittaya. With this jnana, here yoga means not the exercise yogasanas. In fact, those exercises should be called as asanas, not yoga. We are using the wrong word for wrong purpose. It is called asana. If you go into Patanjali Yoga Sutras, what does he say? He says yama niyama. What is the third one? Asana, not yoga. Then says pranayama. We have changed the name. It is not the right name. It is the asana. So with here yoga referring is not to that asana prakriya, but it is jnana prakriya. Why is he saying dhiya? Dhiya means in the intellect, by the intellect. Because the ignorance of wrong convictions, ignorance and the impact of it being the wrong convictions of thinking myself to be this limited body, mind and intellect, that absence of clarity is in that buddhi, and that is where it has to be illumined. If the room that you are sitting in is dark, where will you open the windows? बगल वाले के घर में? मति भ्रष्ट है. If your son is hungry and you eat food and say, हाँ, पेट एकदम भर गया है, किसका? That where the problem is, that is where the solution also has to be applied. Dhiya eva. In that intellect, this clarity has to be understood. And the supporting factors, bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivicyatmani chintayet. The supporting factors are bhakti. The supporting factors are virakti. Virakti is vairagya. Jnanena. Then vivicyatmani. You start contemplating on the self to get that jnana nishtha. When we start with the Devi Group, we have the first thing that we do is we learn the vocabulary. Tattva Bodha is supposed to be introducing vocabulary. It will show the impact. Earlier you would say, मेरा bad luck ही खराब था. It was my bad luck. Now you grow to say, no, it is my prarabdha. You will not say fate. You will say my prarabdha. And why am I behaving like this? My vasanas. I don't know, Swamiji, why I react like this. V-A-S-A-N-A. Vasana. That is the only reason. So whatever I am going through is a poor fellow, the one through who you are getting that experience. However good, bad, ugly, indifferent, horrifying that experience may be. Person or environment or home or children or spouse or in-laws or outlaws. All of those are mere postman, delivery person, delivering my prarabdha to me. If you don't like what is being delivered to you, you cannot shoot the messenger. Am I getting across? If at all you want to kick that fellow who delivered this to you, the only person you can kick, stand in front of the mirror. You will know the answer. Kick that fellow. My experience, my field of karma, as it unfolds in life, the only person responsible is I, me, myself. So we cannot blame. So the prarabdha, vasana, all these words, we first vocabularize ourselves. For everything required or not required. Why are you being so tamasic? Can't you be a little more rajasic? Vocabulary changes. It's a good change. Like, how your child goes to his first chemistry class and wants to attempt at you, Mom, get me some H2O. Oh, Mom, why is there not enough NaCl in this? And then the mom is also studied, well read, because the cost of Na in the NaCl has gone off the roof. Therefore, there is no NaCl. Sahapadda summa. We show off, right? So it starts there. Then comes the next level wherein it's true implication. Because when we vocabularize, we are trying to push these concepts or ideas on everything around except myself. The true meaning is understood only when it is implemented in myself. Not cut a sorry figure every time saying that, oh, but I'm just being a mere human, It is human to have these emotions, Stop being a pathetic human. You are divine. Once that clarity starts setting in to personalize it at my personal level, then we start paying attention into these words and start looking for deeper meaning comprehensively. That understanding leads to a nugget of clarity. And in that clarity, all the wrong convictions get washed away, burnt away. And the greatest of them that has to be burned is that I am this limited, stupid, careless, callous ego who gets hurt for every stupid thing that you have wrongly identified with. I've told you this joke, right? Santa Singh was working on the 13th floor. Okay, I'll remove the Singh, that is not right. Santa was working, or Sarvesha was working on the 13th floor. Somebody ran and came with a telegram rushing to the... Pata hai? Did you know? Your daughter, she met with an accident and suddenly died. In that anguish, I go to the window, drop off. I jump off because I cannot tolerate, I cannot hold on to that pain anymore. As I'm dropping, I realize, ओए, मैं सर्वेश नहीं, मेरी शादी भी नहीं हुई, मेरी बेटी भी नहीं है. Thap. What are we feeling this anguish for, pain for, suffering for? That which is not. That which is born of identification with that which is not. Just like a child who sees forms in the darkness, night times, cannot get up to go into his own bathroom. He says, Mama, I need to use the toilet. I'm scared. The Mama says, Mama is watching. Go. So with the dhairya that Mama is watching. Similarly, out of compassion, the Gurus say, go into your field of karma. Clean up that vasana. Weaken it out so that you can find some stability. On that stable platform, you will be able to practice this jnana better. And that is called the actual Guru Kripa. When we find our vasanas weaken and there is stability within, as somebody complained, Swamiji, my whole circle of friends are abandoning me. It's because your convictions are changing. It is no more that which matches them. Oh, but I miss them. What do I do? Do more sadhana so that you'll stop missing. Or influence them with your actions, speaking loud that Baap re, if this fellow could change, I think I also have an opportunity. And be the inspiration, be the role model. Don't force it on them, but be the role model. Now, continuing, Bhagavan says in the 27th chapter, Bhagavan Uvacha. See, in Bhagavad Gita, we find the same relevance. There also it is not Krishna Uvacha, Devaki Nandana Uvacha, Parthasarathi Uvacha. No. There the mention is always with, Bhagavan Uvacha. That is the reverence that is given. That's very clear. It is Swayam, that Ishvara himself speaking. No other substitutes. Here as well, it is not the sun speaking, but it is Bhagavan Swayam speaking. Bhagavan Uvacha. Prakritisthopi purushaha najyate prakrite gunaihi avikarat akartrutvat nirgunatvat jalarkavat. So whenever we say, हाय भगवान, तूने मेरे ये कर्म, फूटे कर्म मेरे माथे पे क्यों लिख दिया? बहुत डायलॉग बाजी करते हैं हम लोग. It may be फूटा हुआ कर्म, it may be written on your matha, but it is not Bhagavan who has written it. Why? Bhagavan avikarat akartrutvat. Bhagavan is Swayam avikara. Avikara nirvikara. The whole prapancha is vaikariki. Modified modifications. There cannot be even a trace of such modification in Bhagavan. He is just the adhara bhuta adhisthana, the substratum alone. Nirvikaraha or avikarat akartrutvat. Prakrtisthopi. Though he seems to be pervading through this prakriti, nothing of that prakriti can have any impact like the gunas. For us, the gunas have such an impact. One day I feel, or one moment, not one day, too much of a calculated time there. One moment I feel elated. The other moment I feel, immediately saddened. Then the next moment I feel jealous. Next moment I'll feel angry. Next moment, constantly these gunas have their impact, and I behave like the lunatic monkey jumping along to the tunes of whatever the mind spews. So my question always in Vedanta Vichara is, see, if you are not paid attention to the banana peel on the road and you step on it, there is a probability that you will slip. Maybe it has happened. Every time you see a banana peel, you don't need to cry. All that you have to take care is don't step on it. इतना तो कर सकते हैं ना. And if you are intelligent enough, compassionate enough, pick it up, trash it out. I don't know, Swamiji, there's so many bad thoughts. Good. What good, Swamiji? Bad thoughts. There's some. The moment you know that they are bad thoughts, not you, disidentify, let it wash away. What does the Texan wisdom say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. कितने बार उसी विचार में, उसी कूड़ा करकट में बैठ के रोते रहेंगे. The same dirt that we are sitting here and say, but Swamiji, why does this happen to me always? कचड़े डिब्बे में बैठे रहो तो कचड़ा ही गिरेगा. ढक्कन खोलो, कचड़ा फेंको, आप सेपरेट हो. प्रकृतिस्थोपि पुरुषः नाज्यते प्रकृतैः गुणैः. The gunas do not have that impact on that Atma Chaitanya Tattva. स एष यर्हि प्रकृतेः गुणेष्वभि विष्यज्यते अहंक्रिया विमूढ़ात्मा कर्तास्मीति अभिमन्यते. अहंकार अहंक्रिया विमूढ़ात्मा is a similar language that Bhagavan also uses. Ahankara vimudhatma. What do they think? Vimudhatma. वाह, क्या बढ़िया वर्ड है. हमको गाली दे रहे हैं, उस गाली का मैं विश्लेषण करूंगा. Moha, wherever there is delusion, that fellow acts as murkha. Mudha. He is not just mudha. He is a qualified mudha. Vimudhatma. Mudhatve visheshena sthitam yaha saha. The one who has become, who has gained PhD in being murkha. Ahankriya. I am the doer. So if you are the doer, jhelo. You instigated the whole situation, now go face it. Ahankriya vimudhatma kartasmiti abhimanyate. They get tied into their own actions and be dragged by the results of their action. And this is called tena samsara. This is called being in samsara. Why samsara? Samyak sarati. There is no place to find a good foothold. It constantly is changing, morphing. You thought you could find a foothold. It is like slipping from underneath your feet. Have you ever been to a ocean? बीच के बीच में जाके कभी खड़े हुए? You go to the beach and there is this water waves that come and then recede back. You go stand right at that point where it is up to your knee level and the water is going to the shore and then coming out. As the water is receding back, you will have a very unique sensation under your feet. Sometimes if the water has a current to it, it becomes uncontrollable. What is happening? That is called a slipping under your feet. Like, it slips out. There is no grip. All our frustration is that we don't have grip. And we run pillar to post to find a grip in that where there cannot be a grip. चाहे उल्टे सिर तपस कर लो, that grip cannot be found in that which is a projected reality. Now, how do we get out of it? He says in the 4th shloka, Samsritihi na nivartate. As long as you are living in this avidya, arthehi avidyamanepi samsritir na nivartate dhyayato vishayanasya swapne narthagamo yatha. Supposing you are in a swapna, there is swapna bhaya dosha. When will that swapna bhaya dosha be eating away at you? As long as you are in that swapna. You wake up, swakale satyavat bhati. It appeared as though it was real. But as soon as you realize that it was only an appearance, the fear is gone. Once the fear is gone, then how does it matter? And now we want to go out into the world and ask, there are people, Swamiji, I had this dream. What does it mean? It was a dream. That's all. Bas itna hi hai. There is no other meaning to it. Am I getting across? Now, if you want to get out of this, atayeva shanaihi chittam prasaktam asatam pathi bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayedvasham. Though there are only 2 mentioned, but there are 3 steps to this. He says, bhakti yogena tivrena. For us, it has become a chore where I have to request, please spend some time with Bhagavan. And we have this stiff ego which does not want to become supple and bend down in front of Bhagavan. That's why today's message, before we started the class, always say a prayer. Bhagavan Rama, when he was launching his army to Lanka, who is it that he first prayed to? He invoked Bhagavan Shiva. Sita ji, before getting married, she went to the Durga Mandir. It is said in Valmiki Ramayana as well as in Ramcharitmanas. Oh, that brings about some people saying, oh, in the Vedic ages we never had temples. Kya bakwas bol rahe ho? Vedic ages is Rama's period. Sita ji went into the temple just before wedding so that she can invoke the blessings of Mother Divine. मंदिर नहीं था क्या तुम थे वहां पे? अनाप शनाप बकते रहते हैं लोग. Sita ji prayed. Indra prays. Shiva, Bhagwan Shiva prays. Where, Swamiji? Where did he pray? When he was being chased by Bhasmasura, what was he doing? Ayo! Ayo! I gave that boon and that fellow is trying to try it on my head. Bhagwan Vishnu, come and prayer. So we see that Bhagwan also prays. That is the secret of our success. That which will add wings to my karma, that I can glide. Prayer करना ही मुसीबत हो गया अभी. And ours is not an institutionalized kind of a dharma, where my prayers are valid only if I go and pray through the pastor or the priest. No. You can invoke that Shivalinga in the mud lump on your hand and pray to that Shiva and then do the Visarjana of it. But I am Ganesh Ji's worshipper. I don't have a Ganesh Murti. What should I do? Take a betel nut. हल्दी किस हिंदू भारतीय के घर में नहीं होगा? हल्दी is turmeric. So take a little bit of turmeric, add some water, make it into a nice golakara and put some features in it and put a kumkum. There you go, Ganesh Ji. But even to sit and do the prayer, I have to convince so many times, Baba, it will not take more than 15 minutes. Please sit down and do it with the family. In spite of that, where the habit itself has to be inculcated, Tivra Bhakti, yes, at least let us start with the first step. What does that Tivra Bhakti mean? See, whether it is Bhagavan Krishna or Kapila Bhagavan, whatever is the concept that they are introducing, they'll explain it. So further, he is going to explain it himself. What does Tivra Bhakti mean? Then Vairagya. Where does this Tivra Vairagya come from? It comes as the result of Purna Viveka. That where there is Viveka, alone Vairagya expresses. If you try enforcing Vairagya, there will be only a reactionary pattern. And sometimes this reactionary pattern can lead to psychological damages. We cannot force it in. It has to be the result of like a flowering bud onto the branch as a result of good nurturing. That good nurturing is called Viveka. And what is Viveka? We started with that, right? In the early of this very session. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha Kaha. What does Viveka mean? To understand, intellectually be very, very, very clear about Nitya Vastu tu Ekam Brahma. There is one Brahma Padartha. Ekameva Advitiya Padartha. Why? Dvayat Bhayam Bhavati. If there is more than one, there will be always fear. So that is not even like there is Bhagwan there and I am here. There will always be a confusion. Ekam Brahma. Nitya Vastu tu Ekam Brahma. Tad Vyatiriktam. Any other thing other than that is what I have to detach from. As a result of it, therefore I have nothing to lose because I have logically come to the point to understand that that Brahma Padartha can only be my Atma Chaitanya. Therefore, I have nothing to lose if the world falls apart. When I say world, my world around me that I have created. Because I am that Shuddha Padartha. The rest of it is Ashuddha, therefore it will fall. That conviction is called Vairagya, where I am neither attached to something that its presence or absence can disturb or even create a ounce of disturbance in my antakarana. Bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya nayed vasham. Viraktya. Virakti has that one step prior to it, which is Viveka. Now, with that kind of a mindset, slowly inculcate the following. What are the following? That Bhagavan Kapila Maharshi, he says he'll tell us next week. We'll stop here. Let me request Sushma Joshi ji to unmute herself. One second, Amma. Hariom ji, please go ahead.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुर सुधारी बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरऊ कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंजित केसा हाथ ब्रज और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणियति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा बिकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर शिवर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुमरो जस गावे अस कह श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल चाहते कभी कोविद कह सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीना राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लीहो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जल दिलांदि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे देते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हाकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसौ सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
धन्यवाद माते. And now I'll request Brahmacharini Divya.
ॐ त्र्यम्बकै यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकै यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकै यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्।
Thank you, Divya. We'll conclude today. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shantihi. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.